Welcome to FacingMelsMusic.com podcast, featuring some of the most heartwarming stories from musicians all around the world on FacingMelsMusic.com.
You know, I had a feeling we'd be going straight into record, totally unstructured interview.
Great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I can talk.
Oh, wonderful. Tell me what it is. Okay, welcome, Chad. Chad, how do you say your surname? Is it Lewine? Or
Lewine.
Lewine. Okay,
Lewine.
Chad Lewine, very warm welcome to Facing Mel's Music. I'm Mel Golding.
Thank you.
And you are a pop artist, singer-songwriter, dancer, amongst other things. And you're about to tell me what that is.
Yes, so, and it's so crazy in the last, because I started doing some podcast interviews in the last, basically January 1st. I really only just started doing that part.
Okay.
And so much has changed in my perspective in the last couple of months because I've been trying to do the artist thing for forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm at the point where I'm not quitting anything or giving up anything, but seeing the state of the industry is like, honestly, in the last month,
Right.
I mean, it's been like this for a while, but only in the last month, it's been constantly getting more and more press, publicity on the truth about what's actually happening.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And artists have never been paid well unless they're superstars, no matter what, right? Lots of artists that are signed to major labels are broke or just are stuck.
Yeah.
So I do web design.
Oh, great.
I've worked as a freelance web designer my entire life, save for a few jobs here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm like starting to realize that's a blessing. That even if I had made music my career, the sustainability is not guaranteed. And this whole thing with Glastonbury and the no women headlining that's in the news right now. I mean, that's one manifestation of the huge issue, which we've known inside for a long time, but the people that are not in the industry don't know, and especially the people that choose not to see it in the industry don't care.
Yes. Yeah.
But I was reading a thread by Gracie, someone, I think she's from the UK or Australia.
Okay.
But she's got 43,000 followers on Twitter. She talked about, I think she goes by she.
Okay. Yeah.
Talked about how she was like, F it, I'm going to do a thread because apparently because I can speak on it. And she talked about how she has had a self-sustaining career for a long, long time, touring mostly, but selling out large venues for most of her career. And that she's been offered, she's been in labels and they're like talking to her about how it's so great. And they ask her for her opinion. They ask her to come on panels, but they never ask her to play.
All right. Okay.
And she doesn't have anything else. Not she, but in general, like back to the main point, you can have all of that, but if you have nothing else to fall back on, that can be not a blessing.
No, I know. I mean, I know the industry from like years and years and years ago. I mean, I'm assuming I'm older than you, so I've seen it. I just assume I'm older than everybody, you know. And it's changed so much, and it still feels like there's still you're about justice, aren't you? I mean, I'm about justice as well. And one of the things that I read about you, just to tell the listeners a little bit about you, and what I loved reading is that your mission on earth is to protect the vulnerable. That's one thing. So you're a real advocate for mental health. You're a real advocate for the voice being used for the good and for the right thing. And I've done a little bit of reading around what you're all about, and you're all about music and lyrical content being sincere and for the good, because I read that you feel that there's quite a lot of toxicity in the industry as well. So it feels like you're touching on this already.
Yes.
So you're very passionate about this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel in general about like the media? We'll come into your music. We're going to come to your songs in a minute. And funnily enough, I just ended up looking at I think it was you on your website. Must have been you dancing to Michael Jackson's Scream years and years ago.
And the silver.
Yeah. Yes. You see, Michael, I'm a real fan of Michael Jackson. And honestly, I've just been looking at all your stuff, and I ended up there thinking, oh, wow, that was just great to see, you know, so I can see where your heart is too.
Thank you.
With all this. Yeah, which is wonderful. And we'll come to your songs in a minute. So how do you feel about the media and the music industry now? What are your true, honest feelings? You did start talking about it, but
Yeah.
if you were going to go into it a bit more.
It's money driven. And it's
Yes.
been money driven for a while, but I think there was still, we're talking like 100 years, it's been money driven, but it's been like excessively money driven since like the 80s, but there was still heart. Okay. The heart is gone. That's the difference between the past and now. There was lots of money involved, but there was still understanding that the music is sacred. Music is sacred. And it was commodified to a point, but nowadays it is and we are talking about all media art. We can talk about television, movies, short films, TikTok, whatever, YouTube stuff. It's no longer heart sent at all. Like, not even that it's heart centered. It's like heart irrelevant. So that's what I would say, is that the heart is gone and now it's 100% attention, popularity, followers, which is really just money.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
At all costs.
Yes.
It's at all costs. Even if they're sacrificing the human soul for money at this point. On a mass scale. Blatantly. They're not even hiding it anymore.
I know. Do you have concerns for the younger generation who are coming into this industry? Are you concerned for them?
I'm concerned for the people going into the industry. Of course, I actually haven't thought about that or talked about that as much, but now I'm going to.
Good.
But I'm just as equally, if not more, concerned for the listeners. I just tweeted. I said Gen Z and young millennials are brainwashing themselves at this point.
Right.
It is cool to listen to brainwashing music.
Right.
They're listening to the same song, not the same song, but the same song over and over and over and over. This was spurred by, I saw somebody who's in Web3, who's probably in their early 20s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by Web3?
I think so. Yeah.
Blockchain, crypto, NFT.
Yes. Yeah.
And they tweeted and said, "Oh, this song is such a banger." And I'm like, this song sounds like every other song that just came out in the last 5 years. How is this a banger? And then I'm like, oh my God, they don't know any better.
Yeah.
So it's a self-sustaining brainwash that is happening for the younger. Now it's self-sustaining. I just added that to my tweet today. Like, it took 10 years to get there. Like, but now it's like bops. The word bop I have such a huge problem with, because that's the problem. The bop is the brainwash. Bops are good, but bops were not the entire industry. Now the entire industry revolves around bops.
No.
Nothing deep.
No. Isn't that interesting? I literally had an interview. I say an interview, it's a chat with another artist who is more my age group, who was saying more or less the same thing about this. I mean, it's great to have light-hearted music, stuff you can dance to and that, but I think what he's saying is what you're saying too, which is really interesting. They're being spoon-fed.
Yes.
Right.
Take whatever is given.
Yes, that's it. So if you've only got, just like going in a supermarket, if you've only got, I don't know, pasta on the shelf, nothing wrong with pasta, by the way, but if you've only got that, I love pasta, but if you've only got that, nothing else to choose from, what do you know?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. They don't know any better.
They don't know any better. Exactly.
And the people in charge don't. Go on. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just
people in charge love that.
Yeah.
Like they I kind of lost my train of thought, but that's right. They don't know any better, and it's like we need to shift away from punishing this generation. That's been the whole thing, and I don't care about the boomer millennial feud. That is whatever. That was a thing. It's not a thing anymore, because we need to come together and work on Gen Z and Gen whatever's underneath them, because that's starting to happen.
Yeah.
We need to fix everybody's mess ups in the last 30, 50 years all at once, because this generation is the first generation coming in completely robotic.
Right.
Devoid of social skills.
Yeah.
Devoid of discerning creativity from artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Right? The hype around AI is disturbing, and I love technology.
I was just writing down technology.
It's got to be morally. That's a way of describing what I do. Is holding the industry accountable, morally accountable.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of, technology is great, isn't it? And it has been amazing for, to move ahead at the times, to really, get messages across. It's been fantastic. But there's been some real disadvantages of that. It's taken away a lot of the human element and the heart, I think, that you're talking about. is gone missing. And just to get you back on your train of thought, you were talking about being brainwashed, all this brainwashing stuff going on. That's what you were talking about before, which led me to being, the spoon-fed thing, which is what this person, this artist said yesterday. So, I mean, how do you fix that then? What's the answer? How do you fix it?
I don't have the answer.
Mm.
The answer is education.
Yes.
And I'm not talking 9-to-5 school education. I'm talking educating the people who educate. I was just talking actually to my boyfriend yesterday about how who's responsible for people on the street. This is an age-old question, but who's responsible? Is it the parents? Is it society? Who's responsible for the parents, though, right? Because they were children at one point, right?
Exactly.
Where does it start? Where does it end?
Yes.
We don't know. We just have to start somewhere. And I would say it starts with the people that have all the money in the world using it for the right things. That's the part. That's one of the ways. It's one of the ways.
It is. It is. I'm a therapist, and I'm a singer-songwriter as well, but I am also a qualified therapist. So I do a lot of work with a whole range of age groups, and the younger generation, absolutely wonderful. The 20-something-year-olds, the young 20s, like late teens, early 20s. But they are, it's funny you're talking about clearing up the mess. They are a product of the parents who also suffered in some way. So it's like the victim of the victim of the victim. But at some point, there has to be a break in the cycle to fix everything and to get things rebalanced and calibrated and put back on track to get moving. Because I think this is more than just music. This is more than music. You're talking about the state of being. You're talking about humanity.
Oh, yeah. Shivers in my spine right there.
And spirituality. Spirituality is within humanity. The essence of the human is the spirit. Right. And that's why I know I'm talking your language. You're talking mine too, because I looked at your website and
right now.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I looked at your website and I was thinking, oh, this is great. Wonderful pop songs, really well produced, by the way. Fabulous. We're going to come into some of this. I want to talk about the lyrics in there or the messages in some of them. But then I went to a page. You got wonderful videos here. Is it the discography? And it opened up a whole world of other stuff, other albums, in the playlist. It is. And it was like visiting. Have you heard of like Louise Hay and Rhonda Byrne and Wayne Dyer,
Abraham Hicks,
all of these people?
That's my favorite one. But
is that right? I thought so, because I can see it all in your albums. I mean, your album totally. It's like
I'm on the verge of tears here, Mel.
Oh.
You see me, and
I see you. I see you.
We need to find each other and get louder.
Yeah. Yes.
We are all
yes.
we are all separated.
Yes.
We've been separated for decades. And
I agree.
We need to come together, and that's how it's going to get louder.
Yes. That is what's happening, by the way, because I do have friends who are very, very deeply spiritual. I have Reiki master friends. I've got psychic friends who are mediums as well. And it's all about elevating to the next level. So you're talking about a shift in consciousness. You're talking about elevating to a higher level of being and not staying in this low vibration. Because I think you talk about this in... Actually, I read it in your message, I think to me, or on your one of your profiles. You talk about low-level cycles and a state of low consciousness.
Yep.
And this is what you're talking about, because it's about relating as human beings and eliminating all the other stuff, let's just call it crap, that really doesn't matter.
Yep.
So, and I know in one of your songs you talk about, I want to talk about the TGA song at one point, because I love that.
Wow.
I love that. It's the gay anthem.
Yep.
And it's fantastic. And it's great. It's wonderful. I love it.
2010, baby.
Oh,
2010.
I love it. I love it. And I love the message, and in there. And there's a lot of rapping going on. And there's kind of this, I don't know what I want to say justifying, but you are explaining that, we can still do this. Yes. I can still rap.
Yes.
It's all good. It's all okay. It's nothing to do with racism. It's nothing to do with sexuality. It's nothing to do. It's about this coming together. And I think you're all about that with your music, and you're using music as the vehicle to actually transcend those messages.
Music is, like we said, it's not a music problem. This is not a music problem. This is affecting humanity in every industry.
Yes.
It's industry. It's a humanity lack of soul. And yes, music is a vehicle. I say music is a megaphone for the message. Broadcast specialist, rhythm detective. Okay. I've had that line in my head for like 15 years. It's not a song yet, but I'm making it a song because
you better.
It popped back into my head a few months ago.
Great.
Yes, it's just it's the vehicle. It happens to be the vehicle. Like I said, say on my website, I'm an activist. I'm a leader who uses music to get that message across. Oh, and the problem is, this is the problem, that the people that are in power know music is magical. Music is metaphysical. It hits your ears. It messes with your brain, right?
Yes.
It's not just entertainment. It's not separated. It's waves hitting you, messing with your DNA, messing with your body chemistry. So it lets messages get in a lot easier than if you're reading it. No one's gonna. This is a metaphor that I use to explain music's power. No one's gonna go read a poem with all the lyrics of the top rap song these days. No one's gonna go read a poem about that, right? They're gonna, but they'll listen to it and let the music, let it hit them. They'll just let it hit them. They don't know what they're intaking. But if they were to read it, they'd be like, I don't want to read this.
Yeah.
That's my best. That's like the best way of explaining it.
Yes.
So I'm trying to attach the antithesis of that content. And when I talk about rap and hip hop, it's not the genre. It's not black people. Okay. It's not that. It's the message that is injected into it. All people do it. It happens to be mostly black. That's a whole separate conversation.
Yeah, it is.
I talk about how I know and respect that rap came out of a need to get their story out.
Yes.
And rap has been hijacked, all right? Because the beats in rap are guttural, are human, are tribal. They hit the root chakra, which brings everyone together. Everyone can hit the root chakra, right?
Yes. Yes.
We need to get more people up here to the higher chakras. But something Kanye actually said like 10 years ago, he understands that the trap beats hit the root chakra.
Right.
He understands that. And now he thinks his messages are positive sometimes. I'm like, maybe some of them were, but not anymore. So I use trap, I use hip hop influenced rhythms because of it. It carries the message easily into the listener. Instead of a negative message, we put a positive message over the exact same beat.
Yes. Yeah. You're all about, like you said before, the voice for the good, getting the message for the good, because what you're saying here is you're talking about subliminal messages. Subliminal messages. And it happens a lot in advertising. I mean, music too, visual content, even in, advertising. You go to a cinema or you see something, I don't know, and it's gone into the brain because that was the intention. But what is it for? To sell for their benefit, not necessarily for the people,
Yes.
So you're talking about
mind control.
Yes. And you're talking about using it in the reverse, but to get the message across for the good, which is what are we talking about here? Are we talking about freedom? We're talking about freedom to be ourselves. What is it
first?
Awareness
of of self. Awareness of self. You are a powerful being. You are God energy.
Okay. So we're talking about positive affirmations.
My music is affirmations.
It's all positive affirmations. That's what we're talking about here.
I'm going to look at my notes because I have I've always known that. Affirmations. I just wrote about it recently, but
I love positive affirmations. I always give my clients positive affirmations. The amount of negativity that they see, they think about themselves. It's very sad. It's devastating for me. And I think, why? How did this get to this? How did you get to this point? I mean, I've had it myself. I'm no perfect human being. I've had a hard life too, but it's about working through it. But there's something about the spirit, isn't there, that you've got to kind of keep alive, which is, I know a bit better than this. I am better than this.
Yes.
I'm worth more than this. And this is the difference with some people have the ability to actually transcend to that higher self, to think, no, actually, you know what? I am better than this, and I'm going to be good in life, and I choose. But some people find it difficult and just need a little bit more help. And maybe with the help from your music, for example, and positive affirmations in that. And it feels that
Yes.
that's what you're doing. You're helping people to
Empower.
empower. Exactly.
Empowering people.
Empowering
It's
people.
not. That's
Yes.
taking me to
Yep.
to another thing, that there's a lot
Yep.
of pseudo empowering music right now. Okay.
Right.
I use Lizzo as an example.
Yeah.
So Lizzo excited me when she was coming out, but her latest,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't really follow her, but I do know
Mhm.
what I have heard once I got over the initial excitement, because I had actually seen Lizzo perform in 2014. She was very much more rap and hip hop. Happy
Right.
for her to make it as big as she did.
Yeah.
It's not about her specifically, but there's a lot of the music out there. This is interesting because I'm like formulating it right now as we talk. It's pseudo empowering because it's ego driven. All right. It's I'm a bad bitch. I'm
Yeah.
this. I'm
Yeah.
that. I'm
Yeah.
cooler than you. I'm
Yeah.
better than you. I'm better than them. It's not I'm
Yeah.
naturally good. I am.
Yeah.
It's very hard. It's
Yeah.
still hard edge. It might not be about guns and drugs, but
Yeah.
it's about like material thing. I do my hair. I get my nails done.
Yeah.
It's pseudo, because that's not what we need
Mm.
to be happy. That is still covering up issues.
Yes.
That's materialism. So it's like, you get it.
Mm.
So I have
Yes.
an issue. I've never said it that way before. It's pseudo empowering because it's ego driven.
Yeah. They Wayne Dyer talked about the ego being murking. What did he describe it? Murking in the ego plane. It's not going to get you anywhere. And a lot of it, you're talking about,
We need the
ego.
ego to live, but that's it.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it
And there
protects us.
Yes, there can be positives, and I'm going to write about this, about the positives about that. But the negatives are it leads to competition, and then competition leads to sort of jealousy, and all of these are in the paradigm of negative or even evil, sometimes evil thinking, negative thinking, and then you're in that vibe. No, it's not the way forward. It's not the way forward, is it? It's not the way forward, which is why
it keeps you there.
It keeps you there,
but it makes you think you're going somewhere.
Yeah, it's tricking you. It's an illusion.
It is. Yes, it is an illusion,
isn't it? It's an illusion. I love the fact that I think this is probably the first conversation I've had with someone who's on this particular level, actually, and I love the fact that music is this vehicle to get that message across. That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about, let's get personal, right? Tell me about your experience of this. And, you've obviously come to this point in your life. Maybe it's been a journey. You've been on your own journey. I'm hearing you've been on your own journey. I looked at some of your albums and there's some songs I picked out. Interestingly enough, I mean, one is Michael. I'd like to talk about that, because I know that was a bit of a sad story, quite a devastating story there, something back in college. I would like to know more about your journey, your experience, and what music meant for you, what it meant for you.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
So I just actually, from another podcast, learned, I've been asked what my first experience with music has been, and I never knew that in life. But I do know now. But I really put it towards what was my first experience knowing music was deeper. That's what I should say, because everyone experiences music from birth, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Michael Jackson's Free Willy song, Will You Be There?
Yeah.
That is my first experience of knowing music is deeper than it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I just realized this too, at the same time, I think River of Dreams by Billy Joel came out right around there.
Okay.
And they have very similar sonic sounds, like very... And then they both talk about rivers, and rivers has constantly been a thing in my lyrics. And I have a song called Riptide. I've got this whole watery theme in a lot of my music.
Okay.
I just put that together this week.
Ah. Okay.
But the journey. Okay, so I need a little bit of context to answer. What do you?
Well, okay. Let's look at some of your songs then, give you the context. Okay. I love the fact. Okay, tell me about, I guess what I wanted to know was just what it meant for you. If you look at from your school days, when you went to school, then going to college, did you have to deal with anything, any kind of adversities? Were you faced with any difficulties?
Are we talking about music as an artist or a human?
No, human.
and music.
Yes, what it meant for you, how it helped you.
Another example of I can definitely tell you one. So when I was 16, right, angsty teen, My Chemical Romance. At the same time, emo music, the band May, M-A-E, those two were heavy, and Fall Out Boy. But I remember getting a punishment, a very extreme, a cruel and unusual punishment. I'm learning that my childhood wasn't as normal as I thought.
Okay.
I have had a narcissistic mother.
Right. Okay.
That's another story, but I'm learning this. So I was punished way more than I should have been. Right. Still, teenagers get upset, but this was an extreme. And I remember My Chemical Romance, that the Helena, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, that album. Although the anger was in it, which is like, there's so many ways we can go with this, but it helped release, right? It helped me release, and lots of teenagers get that and understand that. Right. That was something that was another very crucial memory I will always remember. There was the extreme anger that I had to get out, kicking the floor, and then I followed, so when I came out as gay, which was maybe a year or two later, or maybe around the same time, I listened to the band May. They're softer, and they allowed me to cry instead of anger. They allowed me to release and play their album Destination Beautiful or The Everglow. Play that over and over, and it was a release cry instead of a anger release cry. Both are healthy. Both are needed.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, those are 2 examples from high school.
So we're looking at, for you, and probably for a lot of people too, but for you, it was about releasing these emotions, and something turned from anger to crying. So in a way, that's kind of healthier. Yes,
than punching or drugs or violence, which is what is encouraged. We can talk about that, obviously, but like the problem with, and I just saw people are starting to talk about it more, at least my algorithm is showing me more of this. Right. The whole problem with the rap stuff is that it's now anger and it's boiling and there's nowhere for it to go. Right. It's not a healthy release. It's just a buildup. There's no release. The release is sex, drugs, rock and roll, murder, violence. That's the release, because they get amped up. Everyone's like, yes, we're angry. We're pissed off. That's good. Okay. Then what do you do with it? That's not being handled right now. The anger is not being addressed. It's being brought up. It's being consolidated. It's being pressurized, but not being relieved.
No, at least not healthily.
Not healthily. Because
anger is, depression is sort of, I describe depression as anger being inside out. Basically, it's suppressed anger is depression. And there's a lot of that going on. And it feels maybe quite unsafe to actually express anger healthily. It can feel unsafe to do that. So
I wasn't allowed to be angry.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the world is now not. You're right. It's case by case, but you could say that now we haven't. There's a lot of anger coming up in the mainstream, and for whatever reason,
Yeah. Very interesting. Let's talk about your music. What's the latest song that you've done then? The latest one that you released, the last one?
Dark Nights.
It is Dark Nights. I thought so.
Yeah.
Oxycontin, heroin, synthetic good time, face melting, just need a dime. I gotta get high, not gonna get by. Gonna die, gonna die. May as well enjoy the ride. While the drugs got us, pop and lock, jaw, slurring words, climbing higher. Bodies on fire, joints on ice, bodies on fire. till we die. They got us hot and lockjaw, slurring words, climbing higher. Bodies on, bodies on, bodies on fire. All night, dark, dark, dark night. While the drugs got us hot and lockjaw, slurring words, climbing higher. The bodies on fire. Joints on, I feel good again. Bodies on fire. For your way back home through the dark night. While the drugs got us, so I said, continue with me. Right through the pain, you're gonna feel good again. I said, for your way back home through the dark night.
Do you want to tell me about that?
I'd love to.
Please do.
That song is an addiction awareness anthem.
Right.
It is. I wrote it in 2013 about a friend who I was 2 years deep in New York City. I was good. I was comfortable there, and he had told me he was my first New York City friend, and he had told me. Oh, somebody's not going to like that if they hear that. He was my first New York City friend that I met in New York City.
Okay.
Sorry, Tommy.
You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings here. No.
So this guy, whose also name was Chad, he'd be okay with me telling this story.
Okay.
He was in recovery, right? He had been clean for many years, and then a couple years after I met him, I guess it was because I moved to New York in 2011. This happened in 2013. So he relapsed, and I saw for the first time a human being on an opioid or a benzo or something suppressant that was like where they can't even talk or move properly.
Okay.
And I was like, holy crap, this is scary. And I was moved enough to write the song, and that's where the genesis of the song. So that was 2013. I love the song. I performed it and then it faded into my catalog, my archive. It never really got made. Fast forward to the last 2 years, I had my own cocaine addiction, which is actually tied into narcissistic abusive relationship, drugs and alcohol. So it's not like I was waking up looking for cocaine, but that was my drug of choice.
Yes.
And I was like, holy shit, I'm that now. Now I was high functioning, and I'm clean. I'm not. It's a whole other conversation, right? The whole addict thing.
Yeah.
I'm so much better. I went to therapy for the last year every week.
Fantastic.
Finally, I was like, I'm going to therapy.
Great.
And it helps. It helps if you put it in, it will help.
Yeah.
You.
Right.
So
exactly.
I've got all that under control at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I lived what I wrote about.
Yeah.
I lived it. So I'm gonna bring and Juice WRLD, Mac Miller, XXXTentacion, all of these people in the genre that we're talking about is being toxic are dying, and it's like, well, the line of the end of the bridge is like, nobody listens until we die. Nobody listens till we die. I say nobody effing listens till we die, but that's I felt like what's happening in society, what's happening within myself. The song just like bubbled back up, and I finished producing it. Now I have a proper producer make the actual finish it. I make demos and then they bring it to the radio ready sound.
Ah, great. I was going to ask you that question. Okay.
Yeah,
so you have someone. Okay.
Yeah,
great.
That was a huge thing that held me back for many years. But hey, my journey is my journey, and I don't regret any of it.
Okay. Interesting.
So I was like, this song, I'm putting some weight behind it, and now it's out, and it hasn't even, it's been out for like half a month, and it hasn't, it's out there. It's just out there. That's a whole nother conversation also about like how I basically don't have any traction right now. Like I don't have anything going on. But that I've changed my opinion on that. That's the latest song.
It's wonderful. It's great. And what's lovely is thank you for being so honest. And, it is inspirational. It's real. It's real life, it's real. And the effects of going through anything, whether it's narcissism, any kind of abuse, any kind of hardship, adversities in early life will invariably have their impacts in adulthood, and very often it leads down to the path of drugs, alcohol, and they're all just simply coping mechanisms, things that we do at the time to try and get through because we can't see any other way out. And obviously you made that change, and fantastic, well done for doing that. And now it feels like you're a very spiritual person, obviously. Are you religious in any way, or do you cross over into religion? I mean, do you believe in God? I mean, where are you with that?
Great question. And I came out of the womb lit. Like I don't like. I like the idea of indigo child, the phrase.
Yes.
But I hate how it's become the whole woke movement. Again,
Right.
like a lot of stuff in society, it goes up and it has a fighting chance, and then it gets bastardized and diluted.
Okay.
And it becomes like woke is a bad word right now. But
Okay.
for a brief period of time, woke was good. It was an easy way to say, I've been through enlightenment. I understand that there's it's really all that comes down to is there's something greater. That's all that it comes down to. It's not about crystals.
No.
It's not about new age music. It's not about drumming. That stuff helps and comes along with it. But it just comes down to that you understand that that you're not atheist, basically. You understand that there is something else.
Yes. Yes.
And I've been that way for my whole life. But also, I grew up in a household where my dad is religious. My dad is Jewish. My mom's Christian. How can you believe in either?
Okay.
Right? Like,
all right.
That's like,
yeah.
I think that was a gift because we weren't hardcore on either of them. But yeah, then the movie The Secret came out.
Yes.
And then I was 16, 17, and my mom got it, and we watched it, and I was intrigued. I was like, what? I was like, what is this? What is the meaning of life? How do we do this? Like, what is the secret to life? Because I really want to know. Because I know it's not go to school, get a job, get married. I know it's not that.
No.
And also, mind you, like, my parents are the different religions. My parents are 20 years apart. I'm gay. My mom ended up being a lesbian. So, like, my life is completely not what anyone would think. But what I would have thought. My parents got divorced. Like, I was like, my parents are never going to get divorced. So all this stuff happened. So I'm like, okay, so I'm open to anything in life.
Interesting.
Like, but to answer, I believe that God is not a white man in the sky. God is a particle, right? God is the energy. God is the energy flowing through life. God is the life force.
Yes.
You are God. We are made of God.
Exactly.
Energy.
I agree.
It's a lowercase word. It's a lowercase word. I'm sorry.
No, I know. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that.
What's interesting about Abraham Hicks, and I'm not, so I've been in a cult, right? I didn't know it was a cult, but I've been through a cult. That was my second narcissistic relationship.
Okay.
Long-term one. I've had three: my mother, the cult, and my recent ex.
Okay.
So I've been through all the types of narcissism.
You have
all three.
Yeah. Yes, I've been through one myself, so I do know. Yes.
Yep. And they're everywhere.
Yes, I know.
I mean, that's it's an epidemic that's happening more and more, and it's not. I think it's kind of new, and I think it comes from it's a manifestation of the problem with society.
Yes.
People that are narcissists are the most hurt.
Yes, they are, and the most vulnerable, probably. Actually,
and then do the most damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, religion. I'm not organized. Religion is a cult, right? And one of the things I actually got from the woman spiritual person, I got a lot from her, right? That's the thing about a cult. You do get a lot of value, or else you would leave. One of the things that I got was that the problem with praying is that you send your prayers and thoughts like up to the sky, right? Up to nothing. You really should pray to yourself.
Yes.
Right? Like keep it to yourself. Yeah. Don't like blast it out to nobody, to nothing, because then people can like, the powers that be like pick it up and use it instead of you using it for yourself. So all the rules in religion, no. Yeah. But the interesting part about the Abrahamic religions, which is the top three religions, are all based on the same life force, which is, we're just using the word, it's Abraham, right? The same energy, the same entity of consciousness that runs through Esther Hicks.
Yes.
Is the same God energy that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Non-physical. And it runs through all three Abrahamic religions.
Yes.
So it's like,
I know. Yes.
They're all saying the same thing.
They are.
They're just
Yes.
coming from different parts of the world, and that's before the
Exactly.
world was connected, right? So
Yes.
it worked.
Yes. Yeah.
And now it's like we need to, if we just see that we're all seeing the same thing. Now I'm not Islam and the no women thing, and that's nationalism or national based. That's not the religion itself. I don't, just like Christianity and the gay thing and all this. Man bastardized these religions. But yeah, the basis is there. Love thy neighbor like yourself is the basis of it all.
Of course. Absolutely right. Was it the divine? It's about the divine. I think Wayne Dyer talks about the divine, and if you think about it, this God, the divine, it is actually the higher version of yourself anyway. It's you reaching that level and rising above the ego.
Yes.
Basically.
100%.
That's what it is.
When we landed on Earth, however we got here on Earth, because I don't know, I think there might be a missing link between apes and humans. But there's a combination of evolution. There might be some aliens involved. I don't. Yeah. That's whatever. I'm okay with saying that.
Yeah.
But we didn't come here with a raging ego. The ego was installed intact. However, it was to protect us from being eaten. Okay.
Well, it's survival mechanism, of course.
And that's all it was. And then it got out of hand because we lost touch with the divine. We're talking
Absolutely.
like. Yes. I mean, I want to say like Egypt had it, but Egypt had slaves, right? But we're talking like cavemen, tribal, community-driven. Maybe once language happened, we lost it. But we had it for a while. We were good for a while.
Yeah.
We haven't been for thousands of years.
No, but what's wonderful is you're really. I think there's quite a few of us coming together now, speaking the same language. So the language you're speaking, I'm also speaking the same language, and I think we are rising to that new level now. So this leads me on to
we're not afraid anymore.
No,
that's
not afraid.
We've been afraid, and we've been shunned so hard for 50, 60 years post hippies.
Yeah,
we went to the shadows, and now we're coming out again.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So it's very, very hard. One of the tests, I think, is the elements of forgiveness. Because to forgive, I believe that is part of what gets you rising to a higher level. It's the ability to forgive. Where do you sit with forgiveness? Now, forgiveness is not condoning. It's not saying that was all right. No, it's not. It's saying that was terrible. It was awful. I suffered, but I'm letting it go, and I'm letting you go.
Yes.
So that we can now grow. Where do you sit with forgiveness? Because it's an interesting question. And I think there's still a lot of people that have to get their heads around this concept of forgiveness.
You just made a great lyric.
Did I? Well, I'm a songwriter as well. I do put this stuff in my own songs, actually.
I'm letting it go. I'm letting you go so we can both grow.
I've got a song coming out called Letting It Go. Yeah. Yes! I'm working on it right now. Yeah.
Well, if I use it, you'll get credit.
Okay, thank you.
Because we're all about fair splits here, okay? We're all about fair splits.
Yeah. It's all about forgiveness.
50% of 1,000 is better than 0%
of nothing.
Or 100% of 0.
Or 100% of nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. But seriously, I mean, where are you with that? I mean, maybe you haven't thought about it in depth yet. Maybe.
I haven't. So
maybe not. Maybe not.
Well, no one's asked me about it, and I love that because every interview I do, every conversation I have, I get something new triggered, and I'm on the spot. I'm thinking on the spot.
Yeah.
I think the first, you ready for this? The first thing and the hardest one was to forgive myself.
Right.
Okay. To be like, I did these things. I chose to do these things. Was I conditioned to make these choices? Yes. But I still did. And it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm a screw up, which is what my whole life I realized that I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I was conditioned to believe I was either a failure or a complete success. There was no in between.
Yeah.
And that's not real. Apparently that's not real. So forgiving myself happened in the last year.
That's great.
And it's not black and white, right? It's not like, oh, I need to make reparations for either what I did to other people or did to myself. You can't.
No.
And in this specific case, so forgiving myself was
No.
big. I mean, I'm all about. I don't harbor grudges. I do in the beginning. At least we're talking about the narcissistic relationships, and they're the
Yeah.
only ones that I really have hung on to.
Right.
So I have forgiven. I think we need to define forgiveness. It's like you said,
Exactly.
it's letting it go,
Yes.
but not condoning it.
Not
So
condoning it, of course not. No.
I'm on board,
Yeah.
100%. That
Yeah.
Because if you don't, the other person isn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're the only one thinking about it. You're the
Yeah.
only one keeping you down. It's like I love the concept of this
Yeah.
idea or this subject living rent free in your head.
Yeah.
If something is living rent free, they're enjoying that space and you're not. So just move them out, evict them.
Fantastic way of putting it. That's great. I love that, Chad. That's amazing. That's really good. You know, and it is, how do I help people to forgive? It's very hard. It's kind of almost confronting the very people who hurt you. It's that as well, but it's also, you know, it depends who, of course. Not, you can't always do it, of course not. But if you have the chance to, is to try and understand their actions, to try and understand whether it was done from malice, whether things were done, you know, from what was the motivation basically to hurt another person. Did they know they were hurting another person? Did they not know? I don't know. You know, and I think that can help with the process of forgiveness.
Yes. Yep. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to get in that mode because I study the human condition.
Yeah.
And then the people that are really deep, I know why they're doing it at that point.
Yeah.
I know why I'm still here, right? I knew I wanted to leave that abusive relationship for a year, but I stayed in it for another year.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Knowing why, and you're right, if you haven't done the work or the research, you don't know why.
No.
And I've been doing this work and this research for my whole life, right?
Yes.
Especially the last 2 or 3 years with the narcissism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that has helped. That has helped. Understanding that it is never you.
Yeah. Yes.
It's never you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's just important to kind of look at things from more than one angle. You know, get perspective, not just through your own eyes, but through the eyes of others too.
Mm-hmm.
And even
if it hurts.
Even if it hurts, and even if they are your enemies, right? And even if you hate them and you wish terrible things on these people, and these are feelings because of the hurt. But I think there is something about that which elevates you to another level.
Yes.
That is the whole, that's the challenge. That is the challenge of doing all of this. That's the challenge right there.
Looking into the face of danger and evil and remaining calm.
That's
I could never do that. I could look into it and get really rageful and pissed, but only in the last 6 months could I now, and that held me back.
Right.
I would go into fight mode, right?
Yeah.
It's either fight or flight when it comes to like disagreements.
Yeah.
And I would get rageful in the face of rage.
Right.
Now I'm almost good and consistently looking into the face of things I don't like and remaining calm and centered and processing it.
Yeah.
Instead of reacting, just acting.
Yes. It does take time because it's the relationship that you have with the world, and it's also the relationship you have with yourself.
Yes.
And that's what this is all about.
Yes.
All right. And that is the challenge. Yeah.
The word self, we forgot what that means.
Yeah.
I have a note right here.
Yeah.
It says just as an example.
Yeah.
It says keep the focus on I'm doing air quotes for people that are listening. My self. Okay.
Yes.
So the thing that is saying the my is the higher consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the self is not your divine existence.
No.
So it makes it easier to look at the self.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. You're talking your spirit self.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If we separate the self from all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard concept, but
It's very hard concept.
I
And we're still working on it.
I'm
I think
still
we're
working on it.
We're all
Yes.
still working on it. We're not quite there, but we're in the right direction, I think.
Yes.
We're in the right direction. This is the most important thing. Chad, tell me, okay, because let's look at some of your songs, and I love your titles here. I mean, it just says so much about your life. You know,
Thank
everything
you.
I need, branching out, the human link. This is something about ancient. What does it say here?
Ancient flow.
spirits, highlights drawn together. Universal laws. You know, so it's very much everything that you're talking about is all in your work here. What is the angriest song you've ever written?
It's not out. It's not out.
It's not out yet. Oh, you've got to get that out.
Let's see. The angriest song.
Yeah.
I'll just look at my Spotify real quick. The angriest song that's out.
The angriest
It's probably
song.
Over It. It's probably Over It.
Okay. What's that about? Tell me about Over It.
That's about. Okay, so it's on the surface, it's a breakup song.
Okay.
We'll just talk about that because I could look through, but we'll just talk about Over It. It's on the surface, it's about a breakup song. It's a breakup song. I'm over it. But I wrote it about breaking up with the industry.
Over it, over it, we're over it, over it.
Over it, over it, over it, over it. Been over it for a while. Had enough of seeing you cry. Swallowing all my pride. Take away the sand, it's a brand new tide. I'm over it. Wind's blowing, I go with it. I'm over it. We never have, we never been. I'm over it, over it, over it, over it, over it. Last time that I saw you smile was when we said goodbye. You know I tried, let it collide, let it collapse. I am my stride. I'm over it. Yeah, wind's blowing, I go with it. Going. I'm over it. We never have, we never been. I'm over it. Over that I got out when I did. Never have, yeah, never been. Trip got a grip, now I get over it. Over it. I'm optimistic. You're blowing it. I'm over it. Ooh, I'm over it. Yeah, wind's blowing, the wind's blowing, wind's blowing all over it. Yeah, so bad that I got out when I did. Wind's blowing, I go with it. Going. I'm over it. We never have, we never been. I'm over it. Over that I got out when I did. Never have, yeah, never been. Trip got a grip, now I get over it. Yeah. Going.
I wrote it in 2013, maybe 2013, 14. I wrote it in 2013 because I
Nice.
remember when I wrote songs because of the apartment that I was in and my studio setup at that time. That's how I remember what year I wrote things.
Right.
Because I only just recently went back and put all my music up. It wasn't up forever.
Ah,
I would put it up and take it down because it was a failure, so I had to take it down, right?
how interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I changed my name a couple times. Like there's
you?
yes.
Mm.
So
Okay.
the song Over It is angry because it's been over it for a while. Had enough of seeing you cry, myself cry. Swallowing all my pride. Take away the sand, it's a brand new tide. And then I'm over it. That's the first verse in the chorus. But it's more like the sonics of the song are like I was going for a guitar sounding punk band, angry, offspringy, Like Offspring
Right.
is a good.
Yeah.
Offspring meets My Chemical Romance meets EDM is what I was
Okay.
going for.
Right.
And I would just say that's my angriest that's out. I have songs. I have a
Right.
whole entire album of For the Narcissistic Recovery.
Okay.
That I have. I'll put it out when I can afford it, but like I
It's
have
great.
that whole thing is really full of a lot of anger.
Yeah.
I have a song recently because when I go through periods of being broke,
Yeah.
which I'm working on trying not to be.
Hmm.
But I always know there's something to learn when I have those
Hmm.
periods. But we're talking like extreme anxiety and freeze periods.
Yeah.
I wrote a song called "Spit It Out,"
Oh.
and it's about spitting out the feeling. It's about me writing a song when
Okay.
I'm in these moods when you can't get
Right.
out of a funk and it's that deep. At least for
Yeah.
me, the only way I ever get through it, even momentarily, is to write or drink.
Yes.
But I don't want to drink anymore in that way. So
Right.
that song is pretty
Yeah.
angry. I think
Yeah.
I've got a song, older songs. Oh, there's actually maybe a song on my demo-esque album, which I just re-put out, which is the first music I ever
Okay.
produced,
Yeah.
called Pivot Position. It's
Okay.
why am I so angry? Pivot my position, start me feeling happy. But that's another angry one. I tried for a long time to stay away from the anger
Okay.
because there's enough out there.
Right.
But I'm
Yeah.
now learning that if I can manage it in a healthy way, I want
Yeah.
to get it out there. Like I said,
Yes.
like we need all emotions are valid. We have to hit all
Yeah.
emotions.
Yes.
But it's the handling of it
Yes.
responsibly that I'm
Yes.
now learning how to do.
Yeah. The healthy outlet, basically, and how it's what's healthier than performance and writing and recording. I mean, are you doing any performances? Do you do any live performances at all?
So
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's my wheelhouse, right? If I had
Right.
to pick one job in the industry, it would be for the performing.
Mm.
That would be like if I could live off of it, if I
Yeah.
had to pick one job and it would be my life's work, it would be the performing, as long as I could
Okay.
pick the songs I'm doing.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's easy to book a show. It's
Mm.
monumentally difficult to pack that show.
Right.
So I performed quite regularly when I was in New York City.
Oh.
Never got traction. I never got a fan base. Now I'm balancing both figuring out why and not caring why at the same time. Because that's all in the past.
Mm.
And I don't regret anything. But
No.
I cut my teeth and I learned how to perform well, even though no one showed up,
Yep.
virtually.
Mm. Yeah.
I learned how to perform.
Yeah.
And now post New York City, which was 2020, and then post pandemic, and I'm in the suburbs I'm in my hometown actually, which has really been nice.
Yeah. Lovely.
I did a show in June. I got about 30 people there. I did a show in November. I got about 20 people there. I did a show in January. I got about 10 people there.
Okay.
So I'm done doing shows for now. And
Okay.
it sucks. But it's
Yeah.
also, I've accepted that it's not helping anyone or myself because I just get depressed after.
I hear you. I hear you.
So I'm putting my focus on other things, but within the music. But still, like it's just not worth it for my mental
Yeah.
state.
Yeah. Okay. You do have to be kind of in the right frame of mind to do that. So it sounds like from what you're saying to me now, you're putting your energies into writing, putting your messages together. And I can see from the albums and all of your work, you've evolved as an artist and you're still evolving. So,
Oh yeah.
and it's about giving yourself that, you talk about these positive affirmations, being kind to yourself, be kind to yourself that you've been developing. It's always a process of development. And, you'll look back one day when you do make it with certain songs and certain marketing, because it's about marketing, branding, how you look. And I noticed that in a few of your pictures, you look quite different. And it's amazing how different you can look, and which one is going to be more appealing, and which one's going to stop. But it's still the same old you in there, you know. It's just, it's nuts, you know. But this is the business side. But you look great. I mean, in all of them, you look great. But I can see which ones would stand out more than the others. So it feels like you're just on that level, because we do live in a material world. And it took me a long time to accept that. Trust me, because I'm all about where you're at. Trust me, I am. But we are in the material world. We are in a world where social media is taken over. But it's about making it work, riding that wave, and making it work for the good of the people and yourself, and to try and be authentic as you can. But it's marketing everything in the right way. And it feels like you're working towards that. And I bet you in the future you will pack out these clubs. I bet you will. You just got to keep believing. Self-belief.
Yeah.
Self-belief all the way. You got to have that self-belief. You know, we're talking about the self-belief, self-worth, self-love, you know, self-esteem. All of these things.
The artist?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Which artist?
The artist self-esteem.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know.
She's a Brit.
Okay.
Oh my God, look her up immediately.
I will.
She is taking the world, kind of, but at least Britain, by storm. She is an unapologetic, like, powerhouse of positivity.
Okay.
And just look her up, you'll get it. I love her, and I'm excited that she's getting what she deserves.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Got it. Prioritize pleasure, and got that one.
Oh,
yes.
I went to New York City from here just to see her. And I think she's coming back in March or April or May. I'm going to see her again. She only does like 2 or 3 shows in the US.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like going to see her.
Okay. Amazing.
I've never done a destination concert until last year to see her, and I'll do it again.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm fickle with my music. I'm particular with my music, right? It's got to hit the heart. It's got to be heart-centered. It's got to be real. So
No, I love it. It's great.
Somebody I'm driving to go see somewhere out of state, they're important.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you, just to kind of come to the end now, I mean, what are you working on now? You're working on stuff, I imagine you're working on stuff all the time, like most artists. They're just writing. Are you putting new stuff together currently?
So this is how we started the conversation.
Okay.
With things like I said, I'm not quitting anything, but the shift that is happening within me is drastic.
Right.
So I am changing my current main focus from making my artistry go to getting behind as a songwriter.
Okay.
So right now, I'm focusing on getting income with my non-music work, because I've never made money from music, and that's just a reality. It's just reality right now, and I'm okay with that. So now that I'm stable, now that I've gotten my substances under control, I'm in a healthy relationship, I'm in a stable physical environment, I'm going to just work as much and generate as much income as I can from my web design. And get my life together, first of all. That's not something I did, right? So getting my life together is going to allow me to do more in music for the long run. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm writing every day. And I don't sit down and write, but I write because when something strikes me.
Okay.
And I'm practicing the craft of songwriting. That's all that I'm doing right now. I create a cappella top lines. That's all that I do. Yeah. And they are complete songs, but I'm not a producer, so I'm not going to spend any time trying to produce it. I'm not a marketer. So I'm not a that's what it is. I'm not a producer. So, and it costs thousands of dollars to produce a song well. Yeah. So at least in my genre. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working on the songwriting. I'm taking a step back and being like, the mission is more important than my artistry, my recording artistry. So I have a lead on a consultant who has connections to these places I need to be. And if I've knocked my ego down a little bit. I've taken now that I'm getting the love and attention that I need in real life, I don't crave it as much from fame.
Interesting.
Huge thing that has changed in my life.
Yeah.
So going through therapy, fixing my personal needs, getting my personal needs met. Yeah. has allowed me to not fixate as much on the getting my own followers, but really like if I can get, because if I write a song a day, if I write 100 songs, 200 songs a year, that's 200. And if I get them to artists that are already out there, the message and the mission is faster because it's no longer about me. Yeah. So if I can, that's what I'm working on.
Oh, well done.
Because the message is more important now.
I love it. That's great. Yeah. You're really you're living out what you're actually preaching, which is wonderful. You're really being truly authentic to your words, to your belief, and it feels like the message is far, far more important, particularly than fame and fortune and any of it, really.
And I want to be rich. Okay, I do.
Oh, who doesn't?
But I want to. I mean, there are people that don't. There are plenty of people that don't want to be rich. But I want to be. And because I want to funnel that money to other places, not to buy boats, not to buy jewelry. I want to I want to redirect the income. I want to redirect the funds. And songwriting hits can get you just as much, if not more, than artistry without sacrificing your personal life. Yeah.
Oh, well done. That's great. Well, on that note, I want to thank you very, very much for coming and being here on the show. And I wish you the very, very best of luck with all of your endeavors. Everything you're doing sounds wonderful. And keep me posted.
Thank you very much for having me. #pop for good.
Absolutely.